Hello and welcome all into the MO podcast. As always, you're here with me, Contumacious-san.
And me, Andrea.
And today we are going to be continuing with the 6th day of the Nightmares Before Christmas. And on the 6th day, my true love gave to me The Curse of the Golden Eagle.
Ooh. I like this one. Not just because it's a jazzy car.
Yeah.
Jazzy car.
It's a nice car, actually. But just to clarify, this isn't an Agatha Christie novel. Although it
might be.
It could be.
Is it?
To be honest with you, it could be a Stephen King one because it's like proper Christine. Yeah, and
I think
but
maybe it is. I'm gonna check. Go on, sorry, carry on. I'm just checking if Agatha's written it because if she hasn't, I'm gonna get on it.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen King wrote Christine a few years before this one came out, though, so maybe they got
Before?
ideas. Yeah. Christine was 1976.
Oh, I thought this was like Christine, was inspired by The Curse of the Gold. Oh, okay.
No.
Right, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
So, I mean, yeah, so like I was going to say, them two authors, this could be a work of fiction. But I'll let you all decide in the comments, and you can subscribe and comment on it.
Helps the algorithm.
Yeah, please. And just
please,
for God's sake, it's Christmas. Come on.
Give us a Christmas miracle.
So, yeah, if you've read Christine or you've watched the Futurama episode Rip-Off The Honkin' Inn, you'll know that the story is about a murderous car. And in this case, life imitates art. Now, the car started out as a police department car. It's a perfect place to learn how to murder and get away with it, to be honest with you. So, had a good grounding. It was...
If you want corrupt police simulator, play L.A. Noire. You won't regret it.
Yeah. The car is, apparently it's still about, is a Dodge 1964 300 limited edition. Now, personally,
Beauty.
I've got no idea what that means, but the pictures look really good. It looks like a classic car. In the American style. If you're watching Happy Days or some shit like that, it looks like something Fonzie would drive.
Swoon.
Yeah.
Not Fonzie, the cars.
Good.
Not into Fonz.
Henry Winkler's 84.
Yeah, and even when he was hitting on girls in Happy Days, he was still
40.
Fucky something.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. So, apparently, this car was used by the Old Orchard Beach Police Department in Maine. But after 3 police officers that had previously driven the Eagle committed suicide, the police department decided to sell off the car. Like most responsible government departments, they just decided to move the issue on rather than deal with it head on.
So you think like the chief inspector guy was sat there and he was like, right, we've had 3 of our best guys commit suicide. 3 of our brothers take their life. What do you guys think we should do about it? And the cops are like, we could do something like mental health counselling. And another one's like, oh, what about talking about our feelings? And the chief execs were like, no, you bunch of idiots, you bunch of morons. We're just going to get rid of the car.
Yeah. So that was their solution to it. Now, amazingly, they...
Just don't get in the car.
They palmed it off to a lovely old doctor who lived in the community. I mean, you know what? If he had an accident, he could probably repair himself. That's the best thing that I've got out of it.
Perfectly safe, Doc. We've just got too many cars.
Yeah.
Just don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. In fact, we've lost 3 officers, so now we've got 3 more cars
too
than
many
we need.
Cars.
So, the only horrifying thing that I could find that happened during the doctor's ownership of several years was that it was struck by lightning twice. Now,
But that won't have affected him, will it?
No.
Because of rubber tyres,
no,
isn't it?
just when he was. It wasn't even when he was in it. It was when it was parked up on the side of the road, apparently. Now, it could be weird if you believe the old saying that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. But it was a 4-door car saloon that was over 5 metres long, made of 1960s metal in a place that has 10 to 20 thunderstorms per year.
It was a big horizontal lightning rod.
So, when you think about it like that, it's not that strange.
It's not. So was the doctor just like, I don't even know what the fuss is with about this car. It's a great lightning rod. In fact, I've never paid an electric bill for fucking years. We just hook it up to the car, honestly.
To be fair, this could be Doc Brown's origin story from Back to the Future. Do you know what I mean? He could have just gone, that's fucking brilliant. We're having that.
If I can just get it to 88.
So the doctor sold the car back to the state, and the fire department took up ownership after seeing nothing bad happen to him. So they were like, okay. I mean, again...
Do the fire department not want a fire engine?
I mean, again...
Not a Dodge Saloon.
Proper government ownership. Sell it off at a loss, buy it back at an even more loss. It must have been coming up to the end of the year, and their budget was like, if we don't spend all this money, we're never going to get it next year. So the thing.
Buy another fire engine.
So why the fire department bought it was because it had ample space. So it wasn't
for a fire hose.
Yeah, but like the fire department in America have EMTs in them, so they don't have like paramedics like we do in England. They don't have them in the ambulances. Most of the fire department people that are called out are trained paramedics. So it was roomy enough to fit all that paraphernalia in, and it had decent speed for emergency services. I still think they should have invested a little better.
Does a fire engine not have great speed for emergency services?
Yeah, and I mean...
There's not going to be that many people to save for the EMTs if they've all burned to death in the fire because the fire engine can only go 15 mile an hour.
Of course. And I mean, I know cars were built differently back then, but they're buying a 20-year-old fucking car. So... yeah, so I mean...
At this point, I feel sorry for the car.
Yeah, you judge if
From
this
around
is
the doors.
fact or fiction. So, now, the fire service had no issues with it, but it was in 1983 that it all started to go a little bit pristine. Now, in 1983, Wendy Allen's family bought this car, and it gets a little bit strange. Or, depending on what side of the fence you're looking at, a little bit suspect. In the first few months of the family buying the car, animals would randomly show up dead near or in the vicinity of the vehicle. Now, this got to the point where the neighbours would start commenting on it. So they were like, another badger dead next to your car. What's that about?
Next to the biggest fucking lightning rod on the estate.
Yeah.
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, and you're taking up 2 parking spaces there as well. I've got a park on the next block. What's going on? Can we talk about this, please?
To be fair, if I saw that car in the flesh, I would drop down dead. I'd be like, oh my God, it's too beautiful. I can't even hurt.
And it was genuinely golden as well. That's why it was called the Golden Eagle.
Nice.
It was a beautiful colour car.
Not when the police had it, though, because the police aren't like rappers or like gangsters or anything. It wasn't gold when they had it.
Oh, no, it was standard, yeah. So one day while driving errands with a wife of a local clergy person, it all started getting a little bit mental. So Latia Bryant was violently flung from the car, claiming that she felt hands on her when the door unexpectedly opened. Now, Wendy Allen, who was driving at the time, she couldn't bring the car under control while Letitia was hanging out the door, but as soon as she started bouncing down the road, she managed to slow it down. Now, Latia wasn't seriously injured, but she told Wendy to go to piss off, basically, when she tried to help her. She claimed the car was possessed, And then all the church people started getting involved, and this is where it goes a little bit, well...
So at this point, Wendy was like, that bitch ain't never going to wreck any of my tea parties ever again. Latia, look, an elephant! Boom. Straight out.
Right.
And then bump. Oh no, what's happening to the car? This is a bumpy ride. Hold on. Are you okay, pet lamb? No, I'm not fucking okay. Your car's fucking cursed.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it is. You're totally right. It's cursed. Ghosts. It was a ghost to push you out the car.
As well, in the 80s, no one wore a seatbelt. So, do you know what I mean? How easy was that?
Yeah, and they
shit
had
to
them
do?
seats, where there's no gap in between. It's just one long seat.
Oh, yeah,
There's no
yeah.
handbrake
Yeah.
on. So it's easy to just kind of go.
It's an automatic, so you just
Off.
keep the pedal down and then just put your foot over like that. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then tell your friend who you really hate that it's a cursed car.
Yeah.
And the car did it.
Invisible hands.
And hope that she's dumb enough to realise. Instead of a normal person that would have gone, I didn't see an elephant. Whoa! What did you do that for, you prick? You Burke?
Yeah. So the church members started to get involved, and they started a campaign to try and get rid of the car from their neighbourhood. Now, rather than try and chalk it down to a random accident that could happen to anyone, to be honest with you, when I was maybe about 8, when we went round the corner, the door opened and I was hanging outside of the car. I didn't think it was a possessed car, but apparently these people
It's a
did.
dodgy car.
Exactly. 80s fucking car. And this is a 60s car, so even worse.
And their solution every fucking time is get rid of the car.
Yeah, just move it on to someone else. As long as you're making profit on it, that's all that matters.
Yeah, move it to the scrapyard. It's not safe for driving. Okay, this is why you American guys need to have MOTs. Okay, I'm just saying. You don't have MOTs and people get hurt. This is a prime example. If it had an MOT, unless you had it done on the dodgy, the mechanic would have said,
Possessed.
doors are a bit dodge. I'd scrap this.
Could be. So rather than chalk it down to a random accident, the church do-gooders decided that the car was possessed and it was part devil. They flyered the neighbourhood, had sermons devoted to the vehicle, and flat out protested to City Hall that the car needed to be removed from being parked on the street.
They flyered the neighbourhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're rallying against this car.
It's like the
just parked.
pitchforks and shit. It's like the end of Frankenstein, this.
This car is literally protecting you from getting struck by lightning
Yeah, I know,
at any
yeah.
and all times.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it. Like, what the fuck?
I mean...
I'm surprised they didn't call the Warrens in at this point.
Oh, do you know what? I'm amazed. Well, I mean... I was going to say, maybe they didn't because maybe it's not true, but then the Warrens would love that shit, wouldn't they?
Well, maybe they did call the Warrens, and the Warrens were like... Mostly just got, like, dolls and shit and music boxes. Ed, do you think we can get a car in the museum at home?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we can't get it in the museum, so it's not going to profit us in any way, shape or form.
The council
so,
declined our extension, so, yeah.
I mean, the Allens case wasn't helped by the fact that 2 children died after being hit by cars on the same road that the Eagle was parked on. But...
They were hit by different cars, not that car.
yeah, the Eagle was just parked there. It was nothing to do with it. I mean...
What are the other cars are possessed, not the Eagle?
Yeah, kids get run over. It's one of them things.
Or the drivers were,
fucking idiots.
So no one actually thought, let's ask these drivers, all right, A, did the kid run out on the road like a little dick? Or B, were the drivers, because at the time it was okay, absolutely shit-faced, drunk.
Intoxicated. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, let's blame the nice sparkly golden car that's protecting us from lightning and 40,000 volts.
Yeah.
24/7.
So, in 2001, so they've had the Allens have had this car for 20 odd years now. Things started to get a little bit physical when an old Karen from the neighbourhood demanded if Wendy wouldn't remove the car, then the local pastor should at least be able to bless and exorcise the car. because why not? Wendy told her to go forth and multiply, and the police were called, and they had to separate the two people. Now,
Father, will you bless my car because I'm a christen it tonight?
Fucking hell. Yeah. I mean, a week later, the Karen that argued with Wendy about this had actually been killed, and she had been decapitated by an 18-wheeler, which also just added fuel to the fire.
That's also just a byproduct of walking out in front of an 18-wheeler.
Probably could be. I mean, she was a Karen, she was a churchgoer, so I think she just thought Jesus would protect her wherever she went, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think walking in front of an 18-wheeler and going, it'll be fine, God will protect me. It's not going to be fine.
Yeah.
An 18-wheeler. Going to be decapitated.
So the church steps up their harassment on the Allens' car, and after this, the local pastor, Barnard Elliott, expressed that if the police weren't going to do anything, maybe the congregation should get together and take matters into their own hands. And
grab your torch and pitchforks.
Yeah, and like some mental vigilante justice, they started vandalising the car, and this resulted in litigation between the Allens and the actual pastor that called for this. Now,
oh, bloody sure, you've keyed me car with a pitchfork, you bastard.
Yeah.
Black gold paint.
And in a twist that no one should be surprised at, the pastor was already under investigation for fraud into the church finances, and he topped himself. But this was just going down on a notch on the Eagles dipstick. Unfortunately, church people, as we know, have no idea how to direct their anger. And rather than looking inside at the corrupt people that run their church and their establishments, they did what they do best and forced their anger outwards onto people that don't agree with them or conform to their ways. So in 2010, the eagle was stolen from outside Wendy's house and taken to be crushed. But apparently, before it got crushed, there was a power cut, and it had to be broken up by hand rather than by crusher. This is kind of where it strays into the realm of unbelievable. If it wasn't unbelievable before this bit, this is where we kind of get.
I mean, it's a highly charged car. Could it not trip the electrics?
I mean, it could have.
Full of 40,000 volts.
It was a Tesla before Tesla was fucking invented. It was storing all the energy up. It was like, right, let's go. Now, if up until this point you're still thinking this may be a true story, and it may be, but apparently Wendy found out where the car had been taken to and where all the bits had gone, and she went and rescued them all, built the car back, and it is now kept in a secret location.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was on board right up until that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say on board, like, okay, like, I think the Christians were just, like, they can't accept that bad shit happens.
Yeah, I can see how they got to that. Yeah. I can see how they got to that. But just because...
Like, did it start its life as a brand spanking new car as a police car?
So, no, it was bought by the police. So it came off the rail as the limited edition, whatever it was. And then the police bought it, painted it.
They bought it new, though.
Yeah. So that was the first outing that the car had as a police vehicle.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, I was thinking about, like, James Dean's Little Bastard. And I was thinking, like, that's the same kind of thing. But then James Dean actually died in his car, like, fatality in a massive, horrific thing. And then people are saying that his car was cursed. But that would, if you're of the fringe perspective, you would think, like, oh, maybe it's his ghost, like, bound itself to the car or something because he died in such a horrific circumstance. But, like, the people that committed suicide probably didn't commit suicide in the car.
No, nothing to do with it.
They just happened to be the drivers of the car.
They just had the
like
keys to the car. I mean,
Yeah.
even it's a police car, so I don't know how it works, but maybe you get rotated onto different cars. So they're not. They weren't. I don't think they were permanent drivers of this car. That could be speculation,
Yeah.
but just three people, and the police. It's a hard job. Do you know what I mean? And this was
Oh yeah.
This was the 60s, 70s police, so they were hard drinking, they were racist, they didn't treat their women well, so maybe their lives were shit.
And maybe it was even harder to be a cop back then than it is now. Like, I don't know, because I'm not a cop. I would very much like to be, but I'm obese and, you know, unfit, so I would never make it through the trials. I'm also half blind, so anyway, I think it's probably harder being a cop back then than it is now, because at least now you have to do like half the work because you've got DNA to back you up. But back then they were like, we've got to type out all our reports on a typewriter. You know, we've got RSI because of the typewriter. You know, we've got like a crick neck because we're having to hold the phones in our like crook of our neck. Or we literally have to go door to door. We can't just email people because email doesn't exist because the internet doesn't exist. And DNA, like, we've literally got fingerprints and that's it. And how the fuck are you going to fingerprint a car? Because tire tread? What, we're going to bring all the cars in the neighbourhood in for questioning? You know,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was a bit trickier.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're in Maine as well. It's not like New York City. It's not glamorous, is it? It's just like, fucking hell.
No.
Yeah. So, I think, like you mentioning James Dean's Bastard there, I think maybe the Allens may have heard of that, and then they stumbled across Christine, and then maybe there was these 3 suicides tied to this car, and they tried to make it bigger than it actually was.
Well, especially since if the car was taken apart, and don't get me wrong, it is a fucking beautiful car. I would be I would be more than a bit miffed. I'd be really miffed.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know whether I would go, let's go to all the effort, which is going to be probably thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to have this car reconstructed to look exactly the same as it used to then sell it for 50 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably going to cost me the same amount to rebuild it.
Yeah, sell it back to the police.
Yeah.
I mean...
or to the local church.
Yeah, so... Use it as a daycare. Daycare transportation.
They could have reconstructed it and used it as a hearse. What damage could it do?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Find its home there. But yeah, I just think this is... It starts off and it sounds really good, but then the more you dig into it, the more you just go, why are you lying? Why?
It's a bunch of really unfortunate circumstances. The car just happened to be parked in the street. Like, it could be a really dodgy street, you know.
That's it. It could be next to a highway, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean?
No zebra crossings back then. The highway code didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're saying, oh, it's parked on the street. How far down the street? How long is this street? Do you know what I mean?
Is it A19?
Is it like...
Yes. It's the length of the M6. It's parked on this road.
Parked on the hard shoulder. So, of course, there was a traffic accident on the M1, and that was parked on the hard shoulder near Shrewsbury. Of course, it's a killer car.
I'm all over fringe like theories and stuff like that, but I just think, like, for me, as soon as you involve the Christians, that's it. It's a no-go for me. It just is. It just is. Like, as soon as the Christians start petitioning, that's it. I'm fucking done, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's it. I mean,
if you really have to stretch to that Satan is now taking over a really fucking gorgeous gold car, which, I don't know. Maybe if I was Lucifer. Is Lucifer and Satan the same thing?
Yes.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so if I was the devil, I would be like...
Demonology expert.
Of course, yeah. I'm glad you've clarified this. Yeah. So if I was the devil... I would want to be driving around in a spangly gold car, but I would want it for me to drive around in hell, you know, next to my Rover 260 with Hitler. You know, I'd want to be driving around, you know, road racing Hitler and shit. So I don't know whether or not I'd be okay leaving that to the Christians.
Yeah. Do you know what I did hear today, actually, just because you mentioned Hitler, and I've just remembered, is that Hitler had his own train.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it was supposed to be...
I bet it was super swanky.
300 metres long. That's big.
Yeah.
That is probably in hell now, travelling him around.
I bet it isn't. I bet it's in some derelict tunnel somewhere that's been bulldozed over. And I'm telling you, Josh Gates is gonna fucking find it. He's gonna find it. I'm Team Josh Gates.
This is why the fucking what's that super fast line they try to build in England? Anyway.
They're building a super fast line?
The train line.
Oh, I don't.
Between Birmingham, that's
do public transport.
Like 6 billion. Anyway, whatever.
Oh right, I'm not a peasant. I don't do public transport.
This is probably why all the train strikes are going on, because they want Hitler's train on the rails.
They're like, we found Hitler's train, okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay while we count the 500 bajillion gold bars in here. And swim in Scrooge McDuck style notes.
Some of our conductors really don't want to travel on the Hitler train. Controversial, I know, but we're going to have train strikes for it over the Christmas period.
But don't they think that Nazi gold is hidden on like an abandoned train somewhere in a disused tunnel that's been like filled over in it? And they're saying that it's like that's where the Nazis have hid all the works of art and stuff that we can't find yet. Because they didn't throw them in the lake or anything. They fucking hid them, didn't they?
They're all in the Swiss fucking vaults. Allegedly. Anyway.
They're in the amber room somewhere.
Yes. And on that bombshell, this has been the MO Podcast with me, Consummation San.
And me, Atreya.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and we shall see you next time. Bye.
Oh, we're good.
The MO Podcast. The MO Podcast. The MO Podcast. The MO Podcast.